This episode of The Answer is Yes Baja Sessions is brought to you by Baja Bound Insurance Services. Driving to Mexico? You can buy and print out your Mexican auto insurance policy online in minutes with their easy-to-use website. They also have great travel information to help you plan your trip south of the border. Visit bajabound.com.
Hello, this is Ryan Thomas, and you're listening to the Baja Sessions. Over the last 3 decades, I've lived, worked, and played from the top to the tip of the majestic peninsula of Baja California. And because of this, I've met some incredibly interesting people with equally interesting stories. And today on the Baja Sessions, we're going to chat with one of them. Alek Baylayan, I'm stoked to have you on the Baja Sessions podcast. Listeners, Alek and I have been friends for quite some time. We've honed our friendship through hundreds of miles of windshield time together in Baja. Alek is a chef by profession and a Baja explorer with me and a good friend. And as I was thinking about who I wanted to chat to on the podcast this time, for some reason, Alek's name and face popped into my head. I sent him a message, asked him if he would come on, and he responded immediately. So, Alek, welcome to the Baja Sessions.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Love being around the off-road industry.
Well, yeah, that's definitely the connection where we've met down in Baja, working with Cameron Steele on Rip to Cabo and trail emissions, and as I always say, Baja just has a way of bringing interesting people into my life, and I have so many friends from so many walks of life, and Alek is one that, it's just funny that our paths crossed the way that they did, and we spent some good quality time together, and I just thought, what a cool opportunity to tell a little bit about who you are and what you do. There's so many of my friends I know in the off-road world that have eaten your food, I guess would be the best way to put it, whether it be on trips with Cameron Steele or at any of the races that I know you've catered for different racers at, and then other different events. Shoot, you were even at a wedding that I went to that I didn't even know you were going to be there. But again, all connected.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, all connected through Baja and racing. So I'm trying to remember, you have a business today, a catering / food truck business. Is that how you like to refer to your business at this point?
Well, I think just with the truck being built, we didn't know in which direction we were going to go. We thought, okay, well, we could do some pedaling and then we could do some catering. But I felt that we were going backwards when we were doing the pedaling. We love to go out in the middle of nowhere and just, create, food and be able to execute it flawlessly and dealing with the elements. So the truck kind of went in one direction, then it went back in another direction. So now in 2020, we're just taking it straight to private catering and clients of, who know us and know what to expect. What I want them to know that they're able to just, relax and not worry about, we'll be there on time. We'll have everything fresh, cooked, to order and everything. So it was just, it went in different directions.
Okay, well,
so we're calling it.
So hold on, you're getting ahead of me here. I wanted to describe what you have today, but I wanted to go back before that because I know you haven't always been the owner of Off the Grid Catering, and you haven't always gone to Mexico with my friends and made food for them. And I know we've had conversation about your past, but let's back up 20 or 30 years. And I'm going to leave it right at that number. Maybe it's closer to 20. I don't know. I'll let you clue us in on your age. I never asked you that, I don't think, or maybe I did. But anyways, yeah. So you haven't always been doing what you've been doing professionally. So back us up a ways and tell us about the early part of Alek being a young adult and what you were doing, if you can.
Well,
I don't know.
No, I can. It's easy because I think about it often. And some of the influence that I have now comes from my brother, Haraj. And, back in the day when I was 13 years old, Haraj was the LVN nurse at Alhambra Community Hospital. And basically, they have potluck type of meal going on in their little area in the emergency room. And Hedach brought something in. The doctors fell in love with it, asked him to cook it again, and from there it spawned into this catering by Harach. And so as I was young, growing up in a Middle Eastern family, basically, you really tend to the family more than you think about future plans. So Hedach started the company, and we did really nice small, and large events, but everything was just intricate, and the detail and hors d'oeuvres and more of the old school catering. Where catering, you didn't have too many pieces of equipment. You had these small, delicate pieces of equipment that you created things onto them and you presented them beautifully. So it basically started off back then. And
where
my
did
other
that
brother,
attention
Ara,
to detail with your brothers come from? I mean, was that something that was he just interested in hospitality and food and that type of thing without any influence?
it was based on the culture. Our culture is when you come to a Middle Eastern home, particularly Armenian, you have a feast. You don't just come and sit down and you have your typical, which there's nothing wrong with it, a typical poultry starch vegetable. This was something where you would come out and there were maybe 10 appetizers that were prepared, and everything's from scratch. And then we move into a kebab type meal. But, that's how it basically, ended up as far as the detail part, because of, our culture. We're, as other cultures are, we just tend to enjoy to entertain, and we like to take it to several different levels. And that's basically what we do.
Okay, so your brother starts this business kind of on accident, and you get to witness it as a how old year old? 14-year-old?
Oh, I was 13, 14 at the time. I would wear a button-down shirt, black slacks, black shoes, and remember asking guests if they would care for an hors d'oeuvre.
All right, so you were groomed for this from an early age, and so then you worked with your brother for a while, right?
Oh yeah, I worked with Catering by Harach and Ara for many years, and we just went back and forth with different wants and needs and business structure, and I thought I love corporate America, but I just didn't want to do it every single day. I wanted to do something, explore. I wanted to challenge myself to do something different, and this just happened to fall into my lap. If I didn't get the call from Dave Manriquez that one evening asking me if I was interested in taking care of doing the Rip to Cabo, I don't think I would be where I'm at now, especially in the off-road industry.
Such an amazing thing how one phone call can change the trajectory of your life. And how did you know Dave?
Dave is a mutual friend of my best friend, who I've known for over 50 years, or 45 years. So I'm 50 now. I met him I think I was maybe 3 years old when I met my best friend. But Dave Manriquez has been with Johnny Campbell in the off-road industry. He's been to Baja many times. And, I asked him to just send me the contract, let me see what was going on. And I thought it was cute, but I said, let's go out there. Let's go out there and do it. Let's do it. I want to see what this is all about. And, back then I had no clue what off-road was. I didn't know anything about Cameron. I didn't know, Johnny. But when I met them, it was so comforting to meet a group of people, as, from the riders to just everyone who's associated with the industry. And I liked it. It was after the first event, I really liked it. And then I got the call for the Trail of Missions.
So thanks to a good mutual friend, Cameron Steele, and the crazy business that he'd created, a phone call to you then spawns a business that you now call Off the Grid Catering. And as I noted early on, I've seen you at a wedding. I've seen you at races. I've seen you at other corporate events. What you're continuing to do stuff for Cameron Steele, but give me an idea of some of the crazy things you've done since then. I mean, clearly going into Baja and setting up a white cloth sit down, which it's not really a white tablecloth sit down meal, but you present well for where we typically end up in the middle of nowhere with Cameron Steele on. But what are some of the other funky and weird and different types of things you do as off the grid?
Oh boy, I mean, we could do one-day photo shoots, just driving out to Johnson Valley and providing a breakfast and even maybe a lunch, and then taking off from that. And, you know, basically we only book one event per day, but if it's multiple days, we kind of stagger days off. But typically we're doing things with the Hoonigan group now. So Hoonigans, they do the burn yard at the Irwindale Speedway every month, and we just a lot of corporate, and it's a lot of the riders who are on the Rip to Cabo who own businesses who utilize my service. So we're out in the, you know, their guys are doing their work, and basically they're ahead of schedule, and they want to treat these guys to something good. So what we do is we'll take our food truck. Matilda and I will drive out there. Depends on how many guests. If we need more people, Emma, my daughter, will come out. But it's mainly us as a core who go out, and we'll treat these guys to a super nice lunch. And, you know, we'll take the high tops out there, the canopy, and just treat them really well for all their hard work. And, you know, we do things of that nature. We do private events on the weekends, from birthday parties to weddings and off the grid events. And some of these weddings can really, really get off the grid. We've driven up to Arroyo Grande, which, and it was a vineyard, and it was a beautiful thing because we were able to stage the night before and, you know, get up early and start the preparation. And, you know, you hear the animals, and you hear pretty much nothing else besides animals. You're out in the middle of nowhere, and it's a nice treat to be able to work in that environment. That's why, you know, I've always pushed. I can't see myself ever doing a brick and mortar. So restaurants are kind of out of the question.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, have you ever like actually worked or owned a restaurant,
No, I did some work experience when I was going through my culinary arts program in '94, and I had to go into doing some apprenticeship with some restaurants and getting the feel of some hotels as well, the Sheraton and Cafe La Boheme. But, you know, these places are gone now, and, you know, I learned from some really good people, a lot of techniques, and just watching and always keeping an open mind to listening, especially some of the race car drivers. When we're out in the dirt and I'm listening to people talk about food, and, you know, they're like backyard barbecue guys, and they want to, you know, pitmaster this, pitmaster that, but, you know, they come up with some ideas and some techniques, and I'm able to talk food with them, and it's really cool to be able to do that.
So you mentioned something that I think I knew, but let's talk about it here real fast, going backwards again. Culinary Arts School. Is that, you chose to do that when you were older, correct?
Well, I was 22.
Okay.
22 when, yeah. No, I was 22, 23 when I chose to go to culinary arts, and I had to stay local. So I went to the local trade school, LA Trade Tech. But at the same time, what I needed to do was I was offered a position at Club Greco, which was a gentleman's club, a Japanese gentleman's club in downtown LA. And what
I
they
didn't
did
know
was
this about you, Alek.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. There's some skeletons in my closet, but
All
you know,
right.
it was a legit place, and you know, it was really nice because of the fact that I was able to do whatever I wanted to do, and we just went in there and experimented, and we fed, you know, appetizers, finger foods.
Let's put a disclaimer out here. When you
Mm-hmm.
say you got to do anything you wanted to with the food, correct?
Right, of course, with the food, the food. And you know, the funny thing about that is, it was a gentleman's club, and they had this type of business concept that businessmen would come in and they would want to not, they were forced to speak English all day long. So they had Japanese women there who would sit there and, they would just acquaintances, not but just, someone to sit and talk